In a town shaped by the subtle machinations and political intrigue of its guilds, it's reassuring to see a goblin waving his torch and screaming about some nonsense or other.
Hey gang, just to let you know, you can now use the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, at flipsidegaming.com and originalmagicart.store. Using the code gets you 10% off orders $10 or more, and you get to help out the channel at the same time. I also want to let you guys know that Flipside Gaming is doing another giveaway, this time for a box of Ultimate Masters. Anyone who uses my promo code MTGMudsta for orders over $10 or more will be entered to win. There's one entry per person, so I wish you good luck, and please be sure to let me know what box topper you get when you win. I also want to bring your attention to some new playmats from Flipside Gaming. They've just released their new Masterpiece collection, which includes pieces that feature art from The School of Athens, A Friend in Need, The Scream, and some of the original art from Alice in Wonderland. I hope you'll forgive me for being unresponsive last Monday and Thursday. I was still in Montreal at a baby shower, and it made it kinda hard to get on the computer or my phone. Today's game has me playing Daretti, and I keep 4 mountains, Thought Vessel, Prismatic Lens, and Planar Bridge. Armin is playing as Alesha deck, keeping Bone Shredder, Scrubland, Viscera Seer, Eidolon of the Rhetoric, Priest of the Bloodrite, Command Tower, and Plateau. Kevin is playing Etali, keeping 2 mountains, Expedition Map, Ruination, Vandal Blast, Ugin, and Relentless Assault. And lastly, Mark is playing his Mazirek deck, keeping an Overgrown Tomb, a Forest, Pitiless Plunderer, Marin, Butcher of Malakir, Indulgent Tormentor, and Necrogenesis. Kevin wins the die roll and starts us off. Kevin plays a mountain and casts his Expedition Map. Mark plays a tapped Overgrown Tomb, passing to me. I play a mountain, and I pass to Armin. Armin plays a Command Tower, and he casts a Viscera Seer. Kevin plays a mountain, and then cracks his map to go and find a land. Mark plays a forest, and he casts Golgari Signet. I play a mountain, and then cast Gamble. I go to my library, and I find a card, and put it to my hand, and then move to discard because of the spell. I hit one of my spare mountains, and I then cast Soul Ring. Soul Ring then taps for 2 for my Prismatic Lens, and I pass to Armin. Armin plays a Plateau, and he casts a Rakdos Signet. Moving to combat, he swings the Seer at Kevin for 1 after I recommend it, and passes. Kevin plays a tap Myriad Landscape for his land for turn. He then pays 2 to cast Shattering Spree and replicates it once to destroy both of my artifacts. Mark plays a Blighted Woodland, and paying 4 casts a Pitiless Plunderer. I draw and play a mountain. I then cast a Thought Vessel, which still means I can cast Daretti out next turn, but either way I could have done that with just lands, so it's not a big deal. Armin plays a Scrubland as his land for turn, and pays 3 to cast Alesha. Moving to combat, the Seer goes at Kevin once more and deals 1, and he passes. Kevin plays a mountain for his turn, and passes. Mark draws for turn, and moves to combat. He swings his Pirate at Kevin for 1, and in his second main phase, we see Marin hit the field. I draw and play an Urza's Mine as my land for turn, and I then bring out Daretti, upticking my Planeswalker. I discard Planar Bridge and a Buried Ruin and draw 2 cards. Armin plays a tapped Lavaclaw Reaches as his land for turn, and pays 2 to cast a Goblin Bombardment. Armin sacrifices the Seer to the Bombardment, dealing 1 to Daretti, and moves to combat. He swings Alesha at Daretti, paying the 2 to bring back a creature from Alesha's ability. This has him bring back the Viscera Seer, who is also attacking Daretti, and deals enough to finish him off. At the end of Armin's turn, Kevin cracks his landscape to find 2 mountains. Kevin draws and plays Vance's Blasting Cannons. He then passes to Mark. Mark draws and pays 3 to cast an Ophiomancer. Moving to combat, Marin finds her way at Kevin for 3. Mark then passes, gaining a Snake token on my upkeep from the Ophiomancer trigger. I play a mountain as my land for turn, and I cast a Nevinyrral's Disc before passing to Armin. Armin is concerned about Etali coming out next turn, and he casts the Eidolon of the Rhetoric to slow him down. We then see Armin play a Bojuka Bog, and it hits the field, exiling my graveyard. Armin swings Alesha and the Seer at Kevin, who cautions Armin not to do it. Armin isn't here to negotiate though, and Kevin takes 4. Kevin exiles the top card of his library with the Blasting Station, and is able to play it until the end of turn. He then pays 4 in his first main phase to cast Ruination, effectively neutering Armin and Mark for the time being. He then passes. Mark activates his Signet in his main phase, gaining 1 black and 1 green, and uses the mana to cast a Necrogenesis. He then moves to combat, swinging Marin at Kevin for 3 and the Ophiomancer at me for 2. He then passes turn. I draw and play Darksteel Citadel, and I then pass with Kevin trying to convince me to pop my disc. Armin draws and plays a Swamp for his turn. He moves to combat, and it's all he can do pretty much, swinging everything at Kevin for 5. Kevin exiles the top card of his library, and he plays a Mountain. He then overloads Vandal Blast, trying to force me to use my disc or waste it. I too do not negotiate, and I let the spell resolve without doing anything, and Kevin passes to Mark. Mark draws and swings both the Ophiomancer and Marin at Kevin for 5. Mark then passes to me. I play a tap Valakut as my land for turn, and I pass to Armin. Armin draws and swings everything he can at Kevin for 5. Kevin exiles the top card with Vance's Blasting Station, and then casts a Generator Servant in his main phase. He then passes to Mark. Mark draws and casts a Skull Clamp. He swings Marin and the Ophiomancer at me for 5, and passes. I draw and cast a Grim Monolith, passing to Armin. At the end of my turn, Armin casts a Vampiric Tutor, taking 2 to find a card and put it on top, which I'm presuming is a land. Armin draws and plays a Plains. He's learned from his greedy mana base, and Armin sacrifices the Seer to the Goblin Bombardment, dealing 1 to Kevin's Servant. It dies, and Armin moves to combat, swinging Alesha and the Eidolon at Kevin. Armin then pays the 2 to Alesha's ability, and brings back the Seer attacking. Kevin takes 5, and Armin passes. Kevin exiles the top card and casts a Skirk Prospector in his main phase. He then passes to Mark. Mark draws and clamps his Snake, drawing 2, gaining an experience counter, as well as gaining a treasure token from the Plunderer trigger. Mark is then able to play a Forest as his land for turn, and he moves to combat. He swings Marin at me for 3, and the Ophiomancer at Kevin for 2. Mark gains his Snake token back on my upkeep, and I draw for turn. I then cast Saheeli's Directive in my first main phase, where X is 6. Armin passes priority, and Kevin responds, casting Reiterate to copy the spell. This means Kevin's copy resolves first, and he reveals the top 6. He hits a Solemn Simulacrum and Vimic Vat. Kevin then grabs a basic with a Solemn trigger, and I then resolve my copy. I hit Mirage Mirror, Trading Post, and Combustible Gearhulk. I give Mark the Combustible Gearhulk trigger, and he has me mill 3. I sadly hit 2 Mountains and Mirrorworks, meaning Mark only takes 5. I then pass to Armin. Armin draws and sacrifices his Seer to scry 1. Kevin decides to steal the Seer with the Mimic Vat to prevent Armin from continually bringing it back with Alesha. Armin then casts a Swiftfoot Boots, and he passes turn. Kevin exiles his top card and draws for turn. Kevin sacrifices his Skirk Prospector to pay for Blasphemous Act, and with the spell in the stack, Armin sacrifices Alesha and Eidolon to Goblin Bombardment to deal 2 to Kevin. The board wipe resolves, and Mark gains a bunch of experience counters and treasure. Kevin then follows up by casting Etali and passes turn. Mark draws, and using some of his treasure tokens, casts a Death Reap Ritual. He then plays a Golgari Rot Farm, bouncing the forest to his hand, and passes turn. I play Phyrexia's Core as my land for turn, and animate my Mirage Mirror to have it become a copy of Etali. I swing my copy to Etali at Armin for 6, and we all flip the top card. I only hit 2 relevant cards, and I cast Mindslaver and then Goblin Ruin Blaster, paying the kicker cost to blow up Mark's Rot Farm, as it's the only non-basic on the field except for my own. I then pass to Armin. Armin draws, and he casts a Talisman Indulgence, passing to Kevin. Kevin exiles the top card, and we see a Chromatic Lantern go to exile. He then moves to combat and swings Etali at Mark for 6. Kevin only hits 2 relevant cards like I did, and uses my Vandal Blast to target my own Mindslaver, and he casts Armin's Soul Ring. With the Vandal Blast on the stack, I sacrifice the Mindslaver to Trading Post to draw a card. Kevin then casts Relentless Assault, untapping Etali and moving to his next combat step. He swings Etali at Armin this time, and we exile the top cards again, and Kevin hits my Sphere of Resistance, his own Soul Ring, and Faithless Looting from Armin. Kevin casts the Sphere last, resolving his Ring and Faithless Looting first. He's also cast 3 spells at this point, and remembers to flip Vance's Blasting Station into Spitfire Bastion. Kevin then has to pay 3 for Goblin Bombardment, and he passes turn. Mark draws and plays the forest he'd bounced the turn before. He sacrifices his remaining treasures to help pay the 4 needed for Reclamation Sage, and he blows up Armin's Goblin Bombardment, after which he passes turn. I play a Mountain as my land for turn, nearing ever closer to Valakut being active, which is making Kevin sweat a bit. I have my mirror become a copy of Etali once more, and I swing it at Armin for 6. I hit 4 spells, and I cast Spine of Ishsaw first, paying the 1 extra for my sphere to blow it up. I then cast Garruk Relentless, Dual Caster Mage, and finally Karmic Guide. The guide brings back my Combustible Gearhulk as it's the only legal target. I target Mark again, and he has me mill 3. This time I hit Steel Hellkite, Inventor's Fair, and Mere Battlesphere, and Mark takes 13. I then have Garruk fight the Reclamation Sage, flipping him and passing to Armin. Armin draws and passes, and at the end of Armin's turn, Kevin activates his Bastion to deal 2 damage and take out Garruk. Kevin draws for turn and plays a Mountain. He asks for life totals and moves to combat. He swings Etali at Armin, and he hits 3 spells, with him first casting Panharmonicon, followed by my Chaos Wand, and then finally Armin's Siege Gang Commander. This gives him 6 Goblin tokens as the Panharmonicon is out before the Goblin hits the field. Kevin then casts Ugin in his second main phase, and downticks him for 6. With Ugin's ability on the stack, I sacrifice my Gearhulk to Trading Post to draw a card. Sadly, Kevin only realizes he could have sacrificed his tokens to the Goblin Bombardment as he's exiling it, and with nothing else, he passes to Mark. Mark draws and plays a Tainted Wood. He then passes, discarding Terrastodon. I play a Mountain, and it being the 6th, this triggers Valakut. I put the trigger to target Kevin, and with the ability on the stack, Kevin activates my Chaos Wand. He targets Armin, who reveals until he hits an instant or a sorcery. Armin finally reveals Utter End, and Kevin targets my Spine of Ishsaw. With the spine being targeted, I sacrifice it to Trading Post and draw a card and return the spine to my hand. The Valakut trigger then resolves, killing Kevin, and I resolve my own Ugin and uptick him to blast Armin for 3. Armin plays his own Hanawir Battlements, and he casts Bone Shredder. He can't kill anything, but he does put the boots onto it and swings it at Ugin for 1. Mark draws for turn, and plays what I think is a Foul Orchard, but basically it's an inch of the battlefield tapped dual land. He then passes. I draw for turn, and I pay 4 to cast an Unwinding Clock. I uptick Ugin to deal 3 to Armin, and I then cast Staff of Domination, passing. I untap on Armin's turn as he lets his Bone Shredder die. Armin can't play anything, and he passes to Mark. At the end of Armin's turn, I activate my staff to draw a card. I untap my artifacts with Mark, and he draws and plays a Command Tower as his land for turn. Mark then casts Strana, Liberator of Malakir, and then resolves the Find half of Find and Finally. He returns Ophiomancer and Reclamation Sage to his hand, and passes to me. I draw for turn, and I pop Ugin's ultimate, gaining 7 life, then drawing 7 cards. I then get to play 7 permanents from my hand, and out they come. I give all of Mark's creatures -1/-1 because of the Contagion engine, and sacrifice Burnished Heart to go and find 2 basics, putting him snugly under the Mimic Vat. I deal 6 damage to Mark as the Mountains enter, and I use the Spine trigger to blow up Armin's Plains, and then downtick Karn to exile the Swamp. Armin scoops it up at this point, and I then pass to Mark. I untap my artifacts on Mark's turn, and Mark casts an Indulgent Tormentor in his main phase. Moving to his end step, I activate my Mimic Vat once more to make another Burnished Heart token, and sacrifice it to go and find 2 more Mountains, dealing another 6. Mark concedes at this point, realizing that I only have to activate the Mimic Vat again to get another heart and activate it to win. Game review time. So, we got to see the power of mass land destruction in this game, and I say mass, but it wasn't really, it was more targeted. Kevin's Ruination basically took Armin out of the game. He wasn't able to recover, and he struggled to find any lands and had to use tutors to find them, which is never a good position to be in. In a similar vein, Mark was able to recover though, but he still had a bunch of cards in his hand he couldn't cast because he lacked lands. I think if it weren't for the Blasphemous Act, Mark could have probably pulled himself back into the game, gaining tokens and experience counters by clamping onto the snake, and then using the snake as a blocker that he got in other upkeeps. It was a nice little synergy, giving him both mana and card draw at the same time. I want to say that politics from other games don't carry over, but unfortunately before this game, Kevin had stomped us pretty hard. This is why Armin and Mark were giving him such a beating early on, but Kevin did a pretty good job of stabilizing later on. Etali is certainly an interesting card advantage engine, and he also helped Kevin ramp by stealing and casting his own Soul Rings. Papa Daretti performed very admirably, and I was very happy with the additions that I've made to the deck. Mirage Mirror and Trading Post are proving to be once again my most favorite cards, as they're so versatile and able to do or be whatever I need them to be. We also got to see Chaos 1 being fun and crazy, and Utter End would have been great if it weren't for the fact that Kevin was at 3. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGMudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/MTGMudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.